Hello everybody, it's Friday. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lindsay and today I am going to be doing something a little bit different. I am going to be revisiting my emergency fund planning. I haven't done this in a little over a year and a few months, and our financial situation has changed a bit since then, and so have our costs. So we're going to take a look at what I should be aiming for in an emergency fund based on what I need to spend every month. Not based on how much I make, but how much my family spends. And just as a disclaimer, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a financial professional. None of this is advice. This is just me walking through this exercise for myself, just to demonstrate how I do this sort of thing. So I have this emergency savings planner. I have it available in the description below. It's a free printable for you if you want to print it out. It's just linked below, and you can download it if you want to. And if you find it helpful, great. If not, that's okay too. Anyway, so I have this set up with 4 categories. I don't know if you can see this very well, but I will talk you through it. The first one, this box here, is typical monthly fixed expenses, things like rent or mortgage payments, debt payments, like minimum monthly payments, that sort of thing. Childcare, car insurance, internet, cell phone, those things that, while yes, those things can be changed, they're generally more difficult to change. Like, oh, well, rent is going to be $800 or whatever, $1,000. Well, if I move, it could be less than that. But it's a lot of work to move. So I'm just counting things like that, even though, yes, technically they can be changed. They're going to be fixed because they're difficult to change, or they take a little bit more effort to change. Typical monthly variable expenses, these are things like your food, gas for your car, pet food, pet supplies, things like that, things that you can vary from day to day, from month to month. Then I have typical quarterly fixed expenses. This is anything that's billed to you on a quarterly basis or every 3 months. And then we have the typical annual fixed expenses. This is one that is things like maybe if you pay a certain type of tax, property taxes maybe, or car registration, things that are billed to you once a year, maybe a membership that you need, that sort of a thing. Or maybe it's an annual appointment that you have to have. Anyway, so we are going to take a look at what my expenses are. And I realize I have an error on this sheet. I will fix it for the link that I have, the one that you can download. I'll fix that version of it, but this is just one that I printed out. Anyway, so we're going to start with my typically monthly expenses, or fixed expenses, and I write at an angle. So here, let me see if I can angle myself over then. There, yeah, there, that works. Hopefully you can still see that. We're going to start with housing, because that is kind of like number 1. And my housing it's my house, my mortgage, plus homeowner's insurance and property taxes all put into one payment. So I'm just calling it housing, because we do have escrow with our mortgage plan. And right now it is fixed at $1,820, so $1,820. I'm rounding up to the nearest dollar. So it's something actually like $1,819 and some odd cents. So I'm just rounding it up to $1,820. Next, we have childcare. And you're asking yourself maybe, well, why would you need childcare if you lost your job? Well, maybe it's not I lost my job. Maybe it's my husband or I had a medical event where we couldn't work. And generally, for the school year at least, our childcare is $182. That's just some after school care for my kiddo, a few hours a day for 3 days a week. So that's why that seems really low. It's not full-time childcare. The next part is internet. And our internet is currently at 66, and it's been that way for a number of years. I mean, it might go up, but I can only go off of the information that I have today. Our cell phone plan is the only phones we have. We do not have a landline. So they are a necessity. So we are doing $127 a month for that. Our car insurance comes in currently at $87. This next one might be controversial, but subscriptions and memberships let's write that in. I'm going to put down 100. We will cancel some of them, but there's that saying, we need bread, yes, but roses too. Yes, of course we need our necessities, but if we cut everything joyful out of our lives, that's pretty sad. So if we can save an emergency fund to take care of some of those joyful things, those things in our lives that bring us joy, if we're thinking about this ahead of time when we're kind of sound mind, let's put in an extra $100 a month for some extra joy in our lives. So it might be controversial. Everybody makes different choices. Everybody does what they need to do for their families. This is something that I'd like to plan for my family, should we need to use this emergency fund. Our energy bill, like our electricity and natural gas, usually it depends on the month and the time of year, but usually we average around $200 a month. And then this last one is one that we actually aren't paying for directly every month, but thinking about if there was a job loss, having to pay for our own health care. Yes, we do pay a premium through our employers, but that gets taken directly out of our paycheck. So it's not part of like our, something we have to dole out and make a payment on every month. But if we needed to pay for, say, state coverage or COBRA, then that is something that we really should include in our emergency fund. And I looked online and I found some basic information from my states, from Minnesota's open market, self-serve market for healthcare. And I found that it'd be about $1,000 a month as things are right now for my family. So this is everything that we have for monthly fixed expenses. Again, this healthcare is just an estimate, but it's good to have something in there just to prepare for, we don't want to be without healthcare if we can help it. So right now, when times are stable, let's take the time to plan for that. So this amount, we don't have any debt other than our house. We are fortunate in that we don't have any monthly debt payments. Our student loans have been paid off since 2021. Our credit cards, we pay off every 2 weeks, so we never carry a balance. Our car, we have 2 cars. One we paid cash for a used car, and the other one has been paid off since February of 2020. So we don't have any debt other than our home. So that's helping out a lot with keeping this monthly fixed expense down. But that being said, this monthly fixed expense, I'm going to total it up. And I have a cheat sheet over here, so I've done this math already. Just full disclosure. This monthly set of monthly expenses is $3,582. So the next category that we're going to look at is typical monthly variable expenses. Now that we have these fixed expenses taken care of, we need to look at how we're going to feed ourselves, how we're going to fuel up our car, that sort of thing. And really, there's not a lot of needs. There's not a lot of need categories within the variable expenses. Yes, there's food, fuel for the car. We do have a pet. We have a cat. So she needs to get food too. And then I did include, I'll write the amounts here in a second. I did include sinking funds because there are things that we are going to need to pay for. We have a 7-year-old. He's going to outgrow his winter boots. We do have 2 vehicles. We will need to get them oil changes, and so we'll need to do car maintenance. And so this emergency fund is going to include us being able to continue to contribute to those sinking funds. Christmas, gifts for family, birthdays, that sort of thing. Again, we need bread, but roses too. And then miscellaneous, because we cannot predict everything. But miscellaneous will then kind of encompass the rest of the categories that maybe I'm missing or I'm not really foreseeing. But for food, I'm going to put $600. I'm going to be realistic with food prices. That is something that's increased since the last time I did this exercise. And we all know that. Fuel, I'm going to put $100. We don't spend a lot on gas. We go into the office maybe 3 days a week. We carpool one of those days. And yeah, we don't, on a typical week where we're not traveling anywhere or have, big things that we need to be doing, we don't spend a ton on fuel. Our pet, our cat, we're going to put $50 for her. For sinking funds, I'm going to bump that to $200 just to make sure we can cover things like Christmas and car maintenance and some household, sort of fixes, that sort of thing. And then miscellaneous, I'm just going to put $100 just to be a catch-all because you can't predict everything. So that total, again, I have a cheat sheet over here that's telling me what the total is $1,050. Next, we're going to go up to the quarterly fixed expenses, and my family has 2 of these. We have water and trash, and these both are billed actually on the same cycle, so we get both bills in the same month, and they both are approximately $150 each. The water can vary, again, depending on the time of year and what our water usage is, but it's usually at or under 150. So I'm just going to go with kind of the top level. And then trash is fixed in the 140s. So the total there is $300. And I have a typo on here that I had it divided by 3, but since it's quarterly, it should be divided by 4. So we'll talk about the dividing. We'll talk about it now because that's part of this. So 300 divided by 4 is 75.
So that means they divide it by 4 since it's quarterly. This comes out 4 times a year.
Oh, I was right. All right, so I made a mistake. I was right the first time. It is divided by 3 because it's 3 months. It's 4 times a year, but it's 3 months each time. So that's 100. So I guess I don't need to fix that. So just forget that I said anything about having a mistake. All right. So anyway, yes. So we need to divide this by how many months this is. So this is quarterly, so that means it's every 3 months. So this means it's approximately $100 a month that we need to make sure we have. And then typical annual fixed expenses, we really only have one of these, and that is our car registration. Totally running out of space. And for the 2 cars, the one is fairly old and the other one it's not new anymore. But for the 2 of them, it's $251. So the total there then is $251 because that's the only one that we have that's fixed, obviously. And so dividing that by 12 is approximately 21. It's like some change it's like 20 point something, but it's, yeah. So now we have all of our figures here. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to figure out how much 1 month is, how much 3 months are, how much 6, and how much 12 months are. So I can think of like what would be 1 month ahead, what would be 3 months of an emergency fund, what would be 6 months, and what would be 12 months. So we're going to take a look. So we've got 3582, and we're going to do this. We're going to add boxes 1 through 4 and multiply by the number of months in the tables below. So we've got 3582 plus 1050 plus 100, so it's this number. And you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then box number 4 has 21 because this, if I have 12 months worth of 21, that gives me $251. That math is a little squishy, but it's good. It's good. And then this one, right? So that is $4,000 for 1 month. It's $4,054. So for 1 month ahead on this budget, I would need $4,754. Now, if I want to go the next level up and say, okay, what would a 3-month emergency fund, what would that goal look like? It'd be $14,262. That's quite a large sum of money. But it's, it's 3 months of expenses. It's 3 months of peace of mind. Next, we're going to go to the next level and say, okay, what about 6 months? Well, 6 months would be $28,124. That's a 4. Again, obviously we're climbing up higher in value there. But again, that's 6 months of all of these expenses and peace of mind. Think about how long it could take to either recover from a health or injury event or a job loss event, to find a new job with an income. And maybe that income isn't as high as the last, the income that you lost. So you need to figure out, how to handle the emergency fund. So that's 6 months of peace of mind. And finally, kind of the grand prize of all of them, a 12-month emergency fund. if you were to hold this in cash, for me, this is my budget, it would be $57,000. And 48. No, I wrote this wrong. That's a 5. So this is $28,524, and this is $57,048. So if I were to aim for a 12-month emergency savings with this budget, I would need $57,000. So, yeah. One thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to disclose the amount that my family currently has in their emergency fund. That's something to me is private. But this exercise is to see if I'm on track for what my goal is. And what I feel comfortable with having as an emergency fund for those times when that emergency fund is needed. This video so far has had no cash, but let me scratch that cash itch. Ooh, look at that. I'm not going to do anything with this cash. This was a completed savings challenge that I have yet to put in its destination sinking fund. But anyway, what's a cash stuffer's video without a little bit of cash? Look at all that. Sorry, that was gratuitous. So anyway, this emergency savings planner sheet, like I said, it's a digital download that you can just find linked below. It brings you to a Google Doc, essentially. So feel free to download it if you want to, print it out, use it, see if it's helpful to you. If it's not, that's okay too. Everybody kind of has their own method of doing this stuff. But I thought I'd offer it to you for free. Anyway, that's all I got. I needed to kind of revisit the emergency fund. It's not as exciting as cash stuffing, but it's, something that needs to be done. At least for my own peace of mind, it's something that needs to be done. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you join me. And if you have something you want to say to me, go ahead and put it in that comment box below. I would love to hear from you. Have a great rest of your day. Let's see you next time.